What is going on, guys? Welcome along to another video here on the channel. My name is Ash. You'll know me as Brommer18. Today we're continuing our build up to FIFA 23 and I want to give my review of the manager career mode on FIFA 23 after my experience with the closed beta. Now, I've already released a video giving my thoughts on the gameplay, the overall gameplay for FIFA 23. So if you haven't seen that already, then make sure to go and check that out. I'll leave a link in the channel. In the description on the card somewhere in this video. On top of that, don't forget to check out my Patreon. The link is down below. On there you can get access to a whole range of fantastic perks and rewards. Other than that, if you prefer to go for YouTube rather than Patreon, you can become a member. So check out that down below and also give me a follow on Twitter. As well as that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you get notifications every time I upload, and check out my Manchester United career mode series that is currently ongoing. With that being said, let's get into it. Right then, we have a lot to talk about, most of it bad, I'll be honest with you. Not even bad so much, this isn't going to be so much of a rant as it is more of a bit of a disappointment more than anything. Now, in the last couple of years, we've actually had a fair amount of changes to career mode. Not all of them have been good, some of them have actually made it worse, but we've had a fair amount of changes. Now this year, for manager career mode, it's been a bit different. There were a lot of changes to player career mode, and I am going to release a separate video for player career mode, so keep an eye out on the channel for that. But with manager career mode, there wasn't a lot of new additions really to get the teeth stuck into, and as a result it's generally just been a little bit stagnant. So first things first, I should probably talk about the biggest one, because this is the one they talked about the most, and it was also the most baffling one for me, and that was the transfer analyst. Now, I recently did a live stream when they did their career mode reveal, and we spoke about this at length, and I was baffled by this addition. It sounded bad, I thought this is going to be terrible, and unfortunately I was proven right. The transfer analyst is a complete waste of time, it is a waste of space. I cannot believe they have actually ploughed resources and time into this. I can't believe someone has produced this idea and decided it would be good, and people have gone along with it. This was as bad as I thought it would be. For example, with the transfer analyst, the whole thing of it is it judges your transfers. It gives you a grade from A to F, whether you sell or buy a player. Now, one, that seems like a minor feature in itself, but it was what they led their kind of press release with. It had the biggest kind of description and biggest kind of release to it. So this was what they were pushing out the most. When it came out, I said it's probably going to get things wrong. It's completely pointless. I don't need the game to tell me what I do and don't need and what I'm trying to work towards, and that was proven right. For example, I was doing a career mode with Newcastle and I sold Fernandes. Now he's like 33 years old. They're probably going to be shipping him out for free. Let's be honest, no one's bidding for him. I get a bid for like 3.5 million and I sold him, and it gave me an F grade, and it was because apparently I could have gotten more for him. Now, one, if it was in real life, they wouldn't have been able to ship him for any money at all. Like, he's going for free, whether you like it or not. No one's paying 4+ million for him. The guy's 33 years old with not long left on his contract. So that was a really good deal, but he gave it an F. And also it kind of impacts your overall rating, like rating as a manager and stuff. Things with that regard will impact that. And it was happening all the time when I was buying players that I knew were a really good fit. It was giving me low grades, the same as selling players. It was always, you could have gotten more for this player. And I was just thinking to myself, why is this a feature? Why? And it's just baffling, because even though it's only a minor thing in itself, they've made it a major thing. This has been their biggest thing for manager career mode that they've really been trying to push out. And I don't understand why. There is no need for this. Nobody asked for it. So I don't know why you've put it in there. It's a complete waste of time. And this was a thing that really got my back up about it overall. It's just the fact that they've spent time doing that rather than putting things in that we actually need. It baffles me. This for me is what you get when you have a development team who generally probably aren't really into football, aren't footballing purists, and they're producing things like this. You only have to go through the list of kind of developer jobs that EA offer for FIFA when they are looking for a new developer or designer, in the jobs, they state, the job descriptions, they state that you don't have to have an interest in football. It's merely about gaming and experience within the gaming market. Well, why? This shows that you need to know football, because why do we have this? So there was a transfer analyst that wasn't very good. In addition to that, we had the cutscenes. This was kind of the next biggest thing that they kind of looked to push out there. Now the cutscenes themselves, I was kind of pleased with that idea. I want to see this introduced into career mode because it makes it more immersive experience, gives it more depth and detail. Now, the only issue with them was there was about 2 cutscenes and they were just constantly recycled. Every time you sold a player, the same cutscene. Every time you signed a player, more or less the same cutscene. And I just kind of thought to myself, this is going to get very repetitive very quickly, and I'm just going to be skipping through it like you do with the transfer negotiations. So there was that. So unfortunately, it was a little bit stale. They could have done more. They're only silent cutscenes with some background music, so I don't see why they couldn't have added a few more. But yeah, the idea is there. I don't mind that. Well, I want to see more cutscenes. It would just be nice if it had a bit more kind of meat on the bone to it. Like I say, it was very, very shallow. With regards to being able to add managers, real managers, players, real managers in the game, this was a good feature. Now, the issue was you've only got about 20 to 30 managers who are actually scanned. Otherwise, it's just generic managers. They don't even have their photo. Whether that will be changed and all managers will have their photos on the game, we'll see. But obviously, most of them don't have their face scans. So as a result, you're just kind of being a generic manager anyway. Now, obviously, you don't get the kind of news stories and stuff where it's saying, oh, this manager is now signed for the club. You know, for example, I was Eddie Howe. I started as Newcastle. So I didn't get that. And again, that just kind of makes the experience a bit more immersive, a little bit better for me. And that was cool. So if you are as a face cam manager, it's a cool feature, you know, to have them in the game and to play as them. Very, very good. Generally, though, that's going to need a little bit more development time as they need to try and work more managers into the game, more licenses, more scans. And as a result, you can really go from there. But at the moment, again, a little bit shallow, but the basis is there. With playable moments where you can kind of jump into games when you're, for example, going through one-on-one, etc. You've got a set piece situation. That's very, very good. I see what they're doing with that. They're trying to make it a little bit like Madden franchise mode. I get that, and that's definitely something that can work. It wasn't personally for me, but I know there'll be a lot of people who want to kind of shrink the amount of time that they're putting into career mode, and they just want that kind of more streamlined play the moment experience. So now you have that with those playable highlights. That works out fine, and I've got no problem with that whatsoever, so that was good. There were other minor changes. Obviously, you had the likes of the pre-season. Now what they do with pre-season is rather than 2 groups of 4, then you go through knockout stages, etc. They have just 1 group of 8. You play 3 games, and if you top the group, you get money, and if you don't get any prize money. So you have to win that group. It's a little bit random. It's a little bit strange, to be honest. It is now closer to the season, so that's very, very good. You don't build all the sharpness up for your players originally, and then it tails out before the season starts because you've got no gains in between. So that's very, very good as well. They've addressed that. And you've also got the likes of the more save files for career as well. Now, I didn't create enough save files within the 2 weeks that I had the beta in order to test that. But I'm sure, yeah, very, very handy. No problem at all. Now, this is where we come to the overall issue here. That being that there's nothing else to talk about. There are no other features to talk about. There was a very small list of additions, most of them very minor, most of them not helpful, and in some regards hindering the game and your enjoyment of the game. So as a result, the experience generally felt the same, other than the cutscenes, which, like I say, were repetitive but did help to kind of flesh out the mode a little bit more. It generally felt like the same experience. And this is where I got a little bit frustrated, because I'm thinking, you know, if it's clear to me that they want to save a lot of big feature announcements for EA Sports FC next year, because they want to be like, oh, look at this brand new game. It's all us now. We've got more resources to pump into this. Look at what we can do. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. But you've still got to provide the product for this year, for one. Now, they've done a lot for player career mode, but what about manager career mode? Very, very minor. Even things like, you know, you don't have to announce new features. What about fix previous features that you've added that are broken? Like training. Training is awful. Training is such a slog. It ruins career mode. It really does. Most people don't do it because they hate it. It's done completely wrong. Like, why can't you add a load previous session button like you did in the previous training method and feature? Why is that not on the game? Why have I got to go through and fill in every player in every set scene again, or completely rotate the squad? It's such a slog. The sharpness feature doesn't work properly. Like, sharpness isn't what it is in real life. That's not sharpness, that's kind of fitness, match fitness. And so all of that stuff doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They completely needed to rework and retune that. They've left it untouched. There are so many other features that are the same. Instead, they decided to mess with things like the budget. You know, you can no longer have the toggle to adjust your wage and transfer budget. Yes, it stays the same, but now you can't visually see your kind of budgets, you know, your wage and transfer budgets. It's very, very strange. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You know, they've just left so many things, other areas untouched. Now, they'll make the excuse, the dev team will, and they'll say, you know, we only get so many resources, we don't get what Ultimate Team gets, etc. We put a lot into player career mode. And it's like, well, why, with the limited resources that you do have, if that is the case, have you decided to go with the transfer analyst, with removing the wage and transfer budget toggle? Why has that been your priority? Come on, address what we need and what we're asking for. It's just the same old, same old. So as you can tell, very much disappointed by the overall experience. Obviously, the gameplay was so bad that left me frustrated as well. If it was very good, naturally you could get on with career mode just fine. But obviously, with the gameplay being so bad, you know, because I hated it that much, it's going to be a real slog. Again, as I've spoken about in my previous streams and videos, it's made me wonder whether I'll be able to go ahead with FIFA this year content, because I can't see myself physically wanting to play this game. It'll be a chore, you know, it'll be such a slog, and I don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it. So feeling very, you know, pessimistic, very negative for career mode, for FIFA 23 ahead. Sorry to kind of say that to you guys. For any of you kind of asking, should you get the game or not, you know, if you feel like you're someone who can withhold from buying the game, then absolutely do that. For anyone who has Xbox Game Pass or EA Play, you can obviously get the 10-hour trial. So I'd always advise you kind of get on that and kind of see for yourself what you can do. Other than that, though, you know, if I wasn't a FIFA YouTuber, I wouldn't be queuing up to buy it, that is for sure. And I still haven't pre-ordered it yet, so there you go. If you play the beta, let me know what you think. Do you have different views to me on career mode? Please do let me know. As I say, there should hopefully be a video on player career mode coming soon as well, so keep an eye out for that. On top of that, check out my Manchester United career mode series with Eric Ten Hag. It is a realistic live stream career mode series, so check that out. You can either watch the full live streams on this channel, or you can see the condensed highlights versions on my second channel. The link to that is in the description down below. Don't forget to check out my Patreon or become a YouTube member for fantastic perks and rewards. And on top of that, drop a like on the video and follow me on Twitter. The link to that is also down below. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't done so already to get notifications every time I upload. And until next time, I will see you soon.